If you need predictions, if you need to know how this season's going to go when it comes to the Atlantic Coast Conference men's basketball, we got you covered right here. At least we're going to try to. We have a whole bunch of different categories we want to get to, some traditional, some not traditional, and we're going to break it down. Dennis, take it away.
All right, let's go right to it. ACC champ, who you have?
Duke.
Likewise.
It really is the reason why I think it's Duke is because they're a throwback with all the modern upgrades. It's like when you see a old Mustang or something, but if you got to put like a modern Lamborghini engine in it or something.
Okay. Because
they are returning 4 or 5 starters. When you are one of the blue bloods that gets all the one and dones, you just don't get that That's a throwback, right? Returning 4 or 5 starters is how we used to talk about it, like in 1997.
True. I mean, but here's the thing: Carolina last year had that exact same situation, right?
True.
That doesn't guarantee anything.
Doesn't guarantee anything. I mean, it's a good point. I look at the perimeter of Duke with a little bit more confidence. Then I mean, Caleb Love is what Caleb Love. Trying not to name names here. I'm more confident that there won't be a fall off from the guys on the perimeter of Duke. But you're right; it's not 100% guarantee. It is just the fact that they're returning 4 or 5 starters and adding the 4 freshmen that they are gives me a lot of confidence that they'll be able to put something special together. That's why I'm picking Duke. Anything to add?
No, nothing. Before we get into individual awards, let me ask you this one. Here's next. So, ACC champion, you have Duke. Who from the ACC makes the NCAA tournament?
Okay. Well, let's talk it out, shall we?
Okay. I have 6.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Just on the talk, I'll give you my number, but just on the talk it out. UNC, UVA, Miami, and Duke, I think, are in.
Okay.
Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams I'm calling on the bubble. That being Clemson, NC State, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Pittsburgh.
Okay.
You could throw Wake on the bubble, depending on some of their transfers. So if I have 4 in, I think I could get to 7. I think Clemson's in. I think State's in. And my surprise pick, if you look at the numbers, I think Pittsburgh's in.
Okay. Pitt made it last year.
And did lost some ability, but also I like what they're doing in the portal, and I like what they have going for them.
I have Duke, Carolina, NC State, Pitt, Miami, Clemson.
Okay, say it again, but slower.
Duke.
Okay.
Carolina.
Okay.
State.
Yep.
Pitt, Miami, Clemson.
Very similar.
Virginia only has 1 returning starter, that's Reese Beekman. I don't think they've really added a whole lot through the transfer portal this upcoming year. I think Virginia actually misses the tournament this year.
Well, okay, and I almost stepped on one of my future topics, so we'll save it. But keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I do think UVA gets in, but we may not be as different as you think we are, you and I.
Okay, that's fair.
What's our next category?
Most likely to disappoint.
Virginia.
Okay.
For exactly what you just said. I really like Reese Beekman.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a future pro, and I think he can drag them to that 11 seed play-in game, kind of on the bubble, last 4 in type. But, I mean, I think that's a disappointment for Virginia. Virginia is a program that has come to a point where, especially under Tony Bennett, where squeaking into the tournament is not something that they consider a good season. Also, this is the first time in 35 years Kihei Clark isn't on the team.
Yes.
Kihei Clark was the starting point guard when they won the national championship pre-COVID, right? We're talking a long time ago.
Yeah.
And this past year, he was still their point guard.
Yeah.
So
wild.
It's been a long time since he and I know Beekman will take over some of that, but I think they played off each other well. So I just think that I think they have the propensity to disappoint this year.
Mine's actually going to be Miami. A Final Four team from a year ago. I have a feeling that they're going to be a team that kind of gets into the NCAA tournament as a 12 seed and gets bounced in the first round.
I don't think their expectations are to be a Final Four team. I don't think their expectations last year to be a Final Four team.
Very good point.
I think if they make it to the Sweet 16, it's a massive success story. I mean, Isaiah Wong. I mean, they lost some ballers.
They lost some good guys.
But they hit the portal again hard, and they got that name, image, and likeness money that just keeps replenishing down there.
They have a lot of that for sure. Speaking of transfers, we'll actually get to that here in a bit. Actually, let's go to that first.
Okay.
So oftentimes we'll get to ACC Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, but because there's so many newcomers into the league that aren't rookies, that aren't freshmen, who's your ACC Transfer of the Year?
This is part situation.
Okay.
Hunter Salas, Wake Forest.
Oh, okay.
Wake Forest as a program under Steve Forbes has no problem bringing in a transfer and saying, take all of the shots.
Yeah.
Right? There's no, hey, we have some veterans that you need to assimilate with. Was Alondes Williams, transfer from Oklahoma 2 years ago, ACC Player of the Year. Tyree Appleby, transfer from Florida, second in the voting, I believe, and led them in scoring.
Yeah, he was up there.
Now you bring in Salas out of Gonzaga, and I'm going it's just kind of plug and play at Wake Forest. You go get a stud, they lead you in scoring. You go get a different stud, they lead you in scoring. You go get a different, just year over year over year. I think he fulfills that role. And some of the players around him, we talked with Carr, they're one of their big guys. They have a couple 7-footers, depending on eligibility for Ayton, I believe his last name is. There's a lot of players that are very good supplemental pieces to a score, but they kind of need that score. I think that's where Hunter can come in. So he's my transfer of the year. What do you got?
If it wasn't for him getting back into shape because of injury and such, I was leaning towards MJ Rice at NC State for coming in from Kansas, the transfer.
Reportedly, advancing quicker than I thought. I thought he was going to be out month, but it looks like he's at least pressing to come back sooner than that.
Hopefully, because I think he's going to be a key piece for NC State. That's why I'm going to go with Harrison Ingram, North Carolina. That's the transfer in from Stanford. Averaged just over 10 points a game last year, nearly 6 rebounds, but I think the tempo in which UNC is looking to play with this season, I think he's going to pop with even bigger numbers. He's going to be a key piece at forward for them.
Personality, too.
Oh, yeah.
We talked with his head coach a little bit, and Harrison Ingram brings the personality to the equation.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got?
All right, so before we get to Player of the Year, since we just did transfer, let's go to Freshman of the Year in the ACC.
I think this is another situation I'm picking. Okay. Elliot Cadeau.
Oh, okay.
UNC. With the simple fact of, first of all, he's one of the best passers coming out of high school. And if you look at all the all-star games and all the prep rankings, the thing that he's got some bounce, he's got some athleticism, don't get me wrong, but he's a point guard in a point guard sense in that, you almost feel like he gets more excited watching someone else score than him, which is very rare, right? Everyone's a score-first point guard nowadays. If I got to set up the offense, fine, but I'm getting mine. Cadeau can get his, but I think when you look at who he's going to be setting up, whether it's Ingram, who you just brought up, obviously the old heads in Armando Bacot and RJ Davis, they've got some guys there that he can set up. I think his assist totals will be through the roof, and that's and also I think UNC is going to be pretty good. So all that adds up to a Freshman of the Year campaign. I
have Cadeau as well. I think again I think UNC is going to play a lot faster this season.
It looked that way in the exhibition, which is the exhibition, but it looked that way.
It's a mentality shift, and I think that's what we're going to see. I think Cadeau. All right, final one, ACC Player of the Year. Actually, not the final one. We'll have one more. Player of the Year.
I'm going to flip this. You go first.
Okay, Tyrese Proctor.
Gosh, I was thinking I was going to surprise you. I went Tyrese Proctor.
Okay, I think Proctor is going to be. I think he's going to be up there with like 16, 17 points a game, but also dishing out 8, 9 assists per game.
Yeah, I think he's going to take a step. Gosh, yeah. I shouldn't have done the flip. I should have just answered first. I don't know why I did that. I think a lot of the attention early is going to be on Filipowski.
Absolutely.
And because of that, Proctor's going to have a really good month before we even go
oh yeah.
Well, look at this. Proctor's having a really good month. He's got 16 and 8, or he's got 15 and 7, or whatever it is, and he's shooting it well. I think it's going to be as under the radar as a potential top 10 pick can ever be.
Final one, real quick. Coach of the Year.
It's so tough because so often these fall just to whoever's the best team, which would be Shire. But because of my dark horse to make the NCAA tournament, I think it goes to Capel.
Oh, okay.
He made a big leap last year. I think if he shows that 24, 25 wins is kind of the new standard at Pitt, it's gonna turn a lot of heads. So I'm going Capel.
Keats, NC State.
Hey, No complaints here.
I think NC State finishes 4th in the conference this year.
Which would be so.
But I think
you picked Miami to disappoint. So Duke, UNC, and who above them? Is still Miami?
Might be Clemson. Might be Miami.
Be up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I
said
think
most likely.
I think,
never said they would.
True. None of them are going to disappoint. Well, that's a hot take.
I know.
There will be a disappointment somewhere. I think state fans would sign up for 4th in the ACC and a solid, like, no doubt NCAA tournament appearance. Nice little showing in the ACC tourney.
Yeah.